I'm fascinated by how we've had comedic news shows that lampoon the news for almost 50 years in this country. Since the news on Saturday Night Live, starting around the mid 70s, we've had jokes about the news presented to us in a newsroom format. It may be more polished and clearly topical these days, but even then, the comedy news was a place where we wrestled with the news of the day. TV audiences were dealing with the impacts of seismic and cynical cultural events like Watergate, the OPEC oil crisis, and the attempt on President Reagan's life. We may see these shows today and those back then as comic relief, pure entertainment, but I say the opposite is and was true. We increasingly rely on a daily admixture of comedy and truth-telling from these outlets. The Daily Show and some great copycat shows help us detangle and organize reality in a sea of mis- and disinformation. They ask the deep moral questions. They help us see how, when, and if the emperor wears no clothes. Now, the late-night talk shows got in on the act too, and with great results, because most of them are hosted by comedians. In a time of fascism, racial violence, and intentional political division, things I never thought I'd say in my life, nothing could be more valuable than the spell-breaking capacity of comedy mixed with truth. These outlets, like John Oliver's Last Week Tonight, take deep dives into the myriad issues of the day that affect all of us, and especially those less fortunate among us. The truth is so under threat that our comedians had to erect a backstop against hate, misogyny, racism, demagoguery, innuendo, and the like. To push back. It's heroic and it's brilliant. I argue that the timeline of these comedy news spoofs has gone from mostly kidding in the past and a touch pointed truth to very thorough investigative journalism with a healthy dose of funny in the present. The cultural importance and value cannot be underestimated, in my opinion. My absolute favorite show was The Colbert Report, which starred Stephen Colbert as a parody amalgamation of Tucker Carlson, Bill O'Reilly, and Sean Hannity. This was stunning political theater to me and absolutely hilarious. On point. And it followed Jon Stewart's Daily Show, making it like the ultimate 1-2 punch. We were so lucky to have these shows we didn't even see how brilliant it was. And there are others too. Bill Maher's been at it for 30 years, playing a vital role in our nation's discourse. His two shows, Politically Incorrect in the 90s and Real Time, which is on HBO now, were pioneers in topical TV shows. They were funny, but they were willing to make people uncomfortable and ask the uncomfortable questions. Not necessarily the news was a fun show on HBO when I was a kid. It was a true news spoof with great writing and funny commercials. It was a template for these modern shows that I mentioned, but it didn't have a point of view per se. It was more for fun's sake. It seemed to pick on kind of everybody. It didn't have a political angle. It was a parody for more entertainment value. So I'm thankful at the education I've gotten from these shows and that are on TV and now on YouTube. I paid attention in school, but these outlets helped me see the subtleties. I believe comedy clarifies for us what is blurred by those who would hurry spurious arguments past our intellectual safeguards. This is not easy work. Being funny about the news of the day while also making it manageable, clear, and accurate, being a moral filter, making it entertaining, artistic, informative, and fair is a really tall order. These TV shows do it day in and day out, year in and year out too. This Thanksgiving, I give thanks to all the tireless writers, investigators, etc. that put together these daily masterpieces of art, comedy, education, and investigative journalism. What an amazing combination of skills and knowledge. And it's funny. Bravo.